Hey guys, I'm so excited to go over this lesson with you out of iReady. This is lesson uh, 15, Rhythm and Meaning in Poems and Songs. This is our learning target, describing how poets use rhythm and rhyme to help you understand how both can add meaning to a poem. Now, this is something we have done in class. This is really just a review. So we're going to take a look at it together though before we jump into There Was a Donkey Named Joe. Poets choose their words carefully. Sometimes they pick words that create a regular beat when you read them out loud. This regular beat or rhythm is what makes you want to clap your hands and tap your foot. Poets also use words that rhyme. These words have the same end sound as in tin and chin. Rhyme can help connect ideas and words or lines in a song or poem. So read this one out loud with me as I do it. And we're going to clap our hands to the beat. Listen for the words that rhyme. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Now, if we sang it, it would sound a little different than when we're doing it, okay? We're going to reread those first two lines again. And the check marks show which syllables have the strongest beat. Try to get rid of that little screen. So twinkle, twinkle, little star. So we would put a check mark here, as I have now clicked on something I did not mean to click on. So we're going to use our pen. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Now let's look at those two little lines again. Which words rhyme? We're going to circle them. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. So the words that rhyme here are star and are. Okay, so as we're going through, we're going to look at the next story, which is the one that you had for an assignment today. Ooh, we got to get rid of our marks. It does not like those to move. So let's go to There Was an Old Donkey Named Joe. Our closed reader habits are circle one set of words that rhyme and draw boxes around another set of words that rhyme. Think about where the words are in each part of the poem, okay? Let's go read our questions. Read the poem aloud. Finish putting check marks over the strongest beats. Number 2, write 2 sets of rhyming words from the poem. So on this row, you're going to write one set. A set means 2. And on the bottom, we have a set, and we're going to do another set here. Last, we're going to do how do the rhymes help connect lines in the poem? Tap out the rhythm and talk about how it changes in each line. We are not going to worry about this part today, okay? We are not worrying about this part. So part 4, we are not doing. Part 4, we are not doing. All right, so let's go and read the poem. There Was an Old Donkey Named Joe by Andrea Sanders. There was an old donkey named Joe, whose best friend was Alice the Crow. They made a fine pair. Alice danced on Joe's hair, and they each wore a bright colored bow. I'm going to read it one more time. There was an old donkey named Joe, whose best friend was Alice the Crow. They made a fine pair. Alice danced on Joe's hair, and they each wore a bright colored bow. So let's circle one set of words in this that rhyme. So one set of words that rhyme is Joe and crow. Now it says to draw a box around the other words that rhyme. So they made a fine pair. Alice danced in Joe's hair. All right, so we have done what it asked us to do the first time, Joe and crow, pair and hair. And if I remember correctly, this was one of our parts, one of our answers for number 2. They ask us to put one set of words that rhymed and then another set of words that rhyme. So I'm going to give you just a second. I'm going to pause my video and give you just a second to go over and write these on number 2 on the next page. All right, here we are on the second page, and you'll see I have written Joe, crow, pear, and hare on number 2. We're going to go up here and look at number 1 now. We're going to read the poem out loud again. We're going to finish putting check marks over the strongest beats. So again, I'm going to pause my video and give you just a second to reread the poem out loud. Now, if my video didn't look like it paused, you can pause your video so that you have the time to read it out loud. Now, we're going to put check marks over the strongest beats. There was an old donkey named Joe, whose best friend was Alice the crow. They made a fine pair. Alice danced on Joe's hair, and they each wore a bright colored bow. So those are where your check marks should have gone. There was an old donkey named Joe, whose best friend was Alice the crow. They made a fine pair. Alice danced on Joe's hair, and they each wore a bright colored bow. Do you see how that rhythm and that rhyme helps you have some meaning in the story? Now, last but not least, I want us to look down here at number 3, and let's talk about this for just a second. How do rhymes help connect lines in the poem? We've already tapped them out and we've already talked about them, but how does it help connect? The rhymes help connect the lines in the poem because it helps give that rhythm to it. Joe, crow, pear, hare. And it also helps you to understand how it speeds up and the rhythm kind of changes as you're doing it. There was an old donkey named Joe, whose best friend was Alice the crow. They made a fine pair. Alice danced on Joe's hair, and they each wore a bright colored bow. So when it has those shorter lines and the rhythm gets a little different there, okay? Does it sound like this is something fun to read? It does. It's an upbeat poem, which makes it fun to read. So let me go down here. How do the rhymes help connect lines in the poem? It connects these two. It gives it both a rhythm. These two give each other a rhythm. If we wanted to, we could add the word bow down here because they both wear a bright colored bow, and that helps bounce it back to the rhythm that's at the top. I know poetry is a really hard one, and understanding how the rhythms match each other, it just makes it a little bit more fun to read a poem. It's kind of like it's more fun to sing a song than to just say the lyrics of a song. So I hope that helps.